welcome to only the second episode of Saturday of the Dead. And as you can tell, I am still figuring out exactly how I want to film this. But hey, it makes it a little more entertaining that every week well, not every week, but every episode of this will be different than the last. Last time we just kind of covered my history of horror, and it was a relatively short episode. They may not be that long, all things considered. But today, since it is near the end of June, and I know I said Saturday of the Dead, it's Sunday of the Dead this week. But today is the end of June, I thought we'd talk a little bit about queer horror. Now, I'm not going to sit here and walk you through the history of that kind of thing, because it's been done to death. But we're going to talk a little bit about the importance of queerness in horror and how it's affected me in my life, because if you did not know, I am queer myself. I am non-binary and all that stuff, so yell at me in the comments asking me what my yelling at me about my pronouns or whatever you want to do. I shouldn't have done that, but you get my point. I'm very supportive and a member of the community, and I'm a massive horror fan, so let's get into it. This is Saturday of the Dead. Oh, and if you didn't watch the first episode, volume warning, for some reason the intro is way louder than the rest. Let's get
Get real. You're not even scary. You're not even
Now, I don't think the question should be, is queerness or are LGBTQ themes important to horror? It's how has it evolved? And like I said, I'm not going to sit here and walk you through it, because you're not stupid. If you're watching this, you're a horror fan. You know about Nightmare on Elm Street 2, excuse me, and you know about how horror has just gone more that way as the years have gone on, excuse me. I think there's a horror movie on Peacock called They, Them. I haven't watched it yet. And it's not like a burn, I suppose, can't think of the right word, but it's not supposed to be against the community. It's just part of the massive world of horror that we all live in now. And, oh, the Therizinosaurus just fell on me. Again, I'm still figuring out all the fun stuff for this. Anyway, that's why I have Marilyn Monroe behind me. But to talk about this properly, I need to start at the beginning where it comes for me, because I used to not really care for Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. Not because it was a queer movie. I didn't understand queer themes and things like that back when I first saw that movie. It's probably early 2000s. And I just didn't like it as much as the rest of the movies. And if you don't understand it, and if you're young like I was, you may not like that movie the first time you see it, but once you understand what it's about and you give it a fair shot, it's a really good movie, and it's more in your face than you realize the first time you watch it, unless some of you watch it the first time and immediately clocked that it was a coming out movie, more or less, or a movie about coming out. Whereas for me, I had no clue. And as I got older and we watched it and I just started to enjoy the movie, especially all those kills at the pool. So I think somebody runs into a fence and just vanishes into flames. It's amazing. But when I learned that it was queer, I suppose, I'm always trying to think of the right adjectives. I don't want to upset anybody or mess things up or get things wrong. But when I figured that out, when I found that out and I rewatched it with that knowledge in my head, it was more obvious than I realized. And I'm stuttering. When I was doing a little bit of research before I did this episode, I read a load of people and a load of reports and a load of websites and even some other videos say that this is the quintessential queer horror movie, or like the big one, the one everyone knows and talks about. The other thing people talk about a lot is Rocky Horror Picture Show. Now, I will admit that I have not watched Rocky Horror Picture Show in a very, very long time. I did a cool theater experience with it a long time ago that my stepmom also did. It was well after she did it. That's not the point. The point is, it was a fun little experience. I think that was the last time I watched that movie. And I'm also not 100% sure that my wife has seen it. Oh, my daughter came and stole her dinosaur. That's fine. But my wife isn't a big horror person, but it's not, you get what I mean, right? She may enjoy that. It's a fun movie, and it's insane. It's extremely queer. Tim Curry with the role of a lifetime, in my opinion. So you can take, those are two of the bases that I always go to when I talk about queer horror movies. Even though Rocky Horror is, you know, it kind of teeters on being a comedy and just a fucking, it's its own movie, right? If it could have its own category, it would. It might as well. But the thing I want to talk about today, as I cover that stuff, is fast forwarding to the big 2026. Again, I'm not going to insult your intelligence by going year by year and timelining all this stuff, but you can see a shift at some point, probably late 2010s into the 2020s, especially the 2020s, as we head towards Leviticus, which I am really excited about. If you haven't heard about it, I don't know too much about it either. I watched one teaser trailer and then decided to let myself be surprised by seeing the movie eventually. I would love to see it in theaters. It is about a gay couple, two dudes, and I'm not entirely sure what happens in it. Leviticus makes me think it's something religious. Maybe there's demonic possession. Maybe there's serial killer. I don't think there's a serial killer, but there's something demonic going on in that movie. And no, it's not some sort of gay equals demon, blah, 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 blah. Shut up. But, you know, it's going to play on some interesting themes, it seems like, and I really want to see it. And that's why I wanted to do this instead of the normal, hey, let's talk about the timeline of queer horror. Because look how important and look how instrumental queerness is to horror nowadays. I mentioned they, them earlier. There's plenty of other examples. There's the old trope of the black dude dies first. We all know that old trope in horror movies. Nowadays, it kind of seems like the queer person dies first. If they were bi, if they were gay, if they were a lesbian. Gay and lesbian are, you know, things like that. And nowadays, a lot of characters do, well, a lot of actors and actresses do present their pronouns ahead of time so that people can get them right or whatever. And I know there's a contingent of people. It's not as many as people think it is. People are like, oh, so many people hate pronouns, blah, blah. It's like 500 white dudes who beat their wives. Like, it's literally, it's a bunch of nobodies that know nothing about anything. So for me personally, I think this is a great step in the right direction, because if we can make more horror movies where that's kind of not the central theme, but you can make a horror movie with a gay couple or maybe a throuple in the future. And I'm sure we'll do, well, I think we have done polycules in horror movies before. So making that more normal is probably the best idea in my opinion. I have somebody I work with who is a very sweet human being, and they tried to be like, look, I enjoy that stuff in movies, but I don't want it to be in all movies. And I think that's something else that I want to talk about. And I'm sorry if this seems like a run-on sentence. You know how my brain works. If you've been on this channel long, you know I just gotta go, 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 go. But my big question to myself was, well, what do I think about that? Does it need to be in more? Does it need to be in less? Does it need to be forced? Blah, 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 blah. And I actually disagree with that coworker. I do not think that it is being forced at all, and I think it should be in more movies. It's one of those things that it's just part of life. I'm not saying every horror movie for the rest of time needs to have something queer in it, but also why not? Like, why can't one of the victims be a lesbian? Or maybe even the final girl can be a lesbian that has to save her girlfriend or her fiance or her wife. And I'm not just, before anybody comes at me, I'm not one of those people. I could be a gay couple, I could be two dudes, I don't give a shit. That's my point. Why can't the person that survives be non-binary like I am? Why can't it be an NB? And they don't have to talk about it. Maybe they mention it in the first 6 minutes of the movie. Like 4 minutes and 12 seconds in, they're hanging out with their friends, and you see the non-binary flag pinned like right here. And you're like, oh, they're non-binary. And that's all you ever need to know. And that's the kind of stuff that makes me mad with the anti-people, because it's not being shoved down your throat if you just know about it. Yes, Leviticus is a movie about a gay couple, but who cares? Gay couples exist. Why can't gay couples have horrifying experiences? Why can't gay couples go through the same thing that we've watched straight couples go through a million billion times? You know, like, I could name 600 movies where a straight couple is dealing with demonic possession or being stalked. And the amount of sex scenes that I have seen between a guy and a girl is ad infinitum at this point. Like, I could go on to make an 1.5 hour long video about that. I'm never going to do that because it's stupid. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not a complaint. Someone in the comments is going to go, oh, so you don't like sex. It's not what I said. I said that there is lots of it. Whereas if there is a scene in a horror movie where 2 gay guys kiss, people want to burn down a theater. Like, I think everyone will be okay. And if you're worried about your kids, 1, why are you taking kids to a horror movie? And 2, if you're taking your kids to a horror movie, make sure you look at like why it's rated R. For example, like I'll give you my own example. My daughter doesn't mind horror. Like, I'm not saying she watches horror movies for fun, but she's seen a couple. I'll let her know if I'm watching a movie and she pops in. I'm like, hey, this is scary. And she'll go, woo. And she'll either come sit with me in my lap or she'll go back to her bedroom. If it's got a sex scene in it, I'll shut it off around her. Or I won't watch it if she's awake. I mean, it's not that hard. But to kind of, route back, if it does have a sex scene in it, and if my child or someone who doesn't understand sees 2 people of the same sex, guys or girls, doing things that she's seen mom and dad do, like we kiss in front of her, if she sees 2 girls kiss, she's like, huh, what's up with that? Then I'm just going to be like, that's what happens. Sometimes 2 girls kiss, sometimes 2 guys kiss, sometimes mom and dad kiss, like a guy and a girl do. It's not that hard. And I'm kind of going on a tangent now, and I apologize, but also I don't get what the problem, I think this is what I said a few minutes ago. I don't get what the problem is. If you see a gay couple in real life, right? Again, guys, girls, don't matter. Maybe you see a throuple in real life. They can go through the same things you're going through. If you're going through a financial hardship, I'm sure they've gone through it too. If you're going through mental hardship, I'm sure they've gone through it too. So again, Insidious is a great example, as is, I was going to say Annabelle, but Insidious just came out. Those are 2 movies that are really good examples of a straight couple going through demonic possession and just fighting with each other and doing all this. Why can't you do the exact same thing with like 2 guys or 2 girls? Exactly, you can. And that's why I'm happy we've gotten to the point where we are in 2026, where you can make a movie like Leviticus. And I'm sure for the people that are part of the community or for the allies, I'm probably missing out on a half a dozen or 1,000 6 to 1,000 horror movies that are based around gay couples and queerness and whatever like that. I'm pretty sure, I can't think of the top of my head, but I've seen a horror movie where like all the characters were queer in some way, shape, or form. And that is where I want to get to in like the big market. And companies like Blumhouse, for example, could do that and not only get away with it, but I think it'd do really, really well. And when you move on to the future, what I think is going to end up happening is we're going to get more movies where this is going to become more normal, not the norm. And that's, to calm those people down, the angry white dudes who, again, should probably be investigated. I'm not saying that every movie for the rest of time is going to have a gay, a queer, something at the front. But I'm asking y'all why it can't. And again, we don't have to make a song and dance about it. I would love there to be a song and dance about it. I don't think I covered that properly. If you were to ask me, if I mentioned Blumhouse, if Jason Blum were to come here and be like, hey, we're going to put a non-binary character as the lead in this upcoming horror movie, how obvious should we make it? I would literally say put a fucking dance number in there to tell you how non-binary they are. And that's just me, because I don't care. I think I've past the point of giving a shit because people make me so angry when it comes to this nonsense about queerness. Because people are like, oh, it's being shoved down our throats. Once a year for 31 days or 30 days, however long June is, we talk about it a little more often than we normally do. It's literally never shoved down your throats. It's just for 30 days or whatever it is, you get all up in arms, your pants get stuck in your ass crack, and you'll be fine. Because July hits, and then the 4th day of that month is America Day. So you'll fucking live, right? And there's tons of America horror movies. Tons! And they're all really good. Well, most of them. They're at least fun. So why can't we have more queer horror movies? And for those kinds of people, the guys with the pants stuck in their ass cracks, you should love queer horror movies because queer people are being killed. So I don't understand what the argument here is against queer horror movies. Even if we start getting, like, if there's a rush for the next 5 years of horror movies with final guys and girls and final NBs and final whatevers, why do you care? These same people that can't stand it when queers are in my horror movies love the Hangover movies. Why is that important? Because the Hangover Part 2 has women with penises. I'm just going to be straight with you. And people love those. Oh, that's so funny. But you can't handle a gay couple in a horror movie. Like, get your priorities in order and just deal with it. Again, this is kind of a tangent more than it is like a podcast episode, whatever the hell I'm trying to make this series. I just felt like for this episode, and while I'm trying to still finesse this, we could just talk about this for a few minutes. Someday down the line, this is going to get better. I'm going to get more talking points. And we're going to start reviewing movies down the line, of course. You already know. But I'm not sure if I have much else to say. I think my main point here is the big question is how important is queerness, the community, whatever, to horror? And I think it's too important to ignore, right? Like, you can go all the way back to the second Nightmare on Elm Street movie, which has become kind of a cult classic. Everybody loves it now. And when you know it, when you accept it for what it is, I think it makes the movie even better. And again, as a kid, I didn't like it very much. It's the same story I always tell about Jurassic Park. It has nothing to do with being queer, although it was probably my bi-awakening, that's for sure. Go watch that movie heterosexually. I dare you. But when I watched The Lost World growing up, I didn't like it because it didn't have Dr. Grant in it. That didn't make any sense, but as a kid, or maybe even a teenager, that's what I thought. But I've grown to like that movie as much, if not more, than the original because it's so different, it's so unique, it's so much fun. And it has Julianne Moore in it, who is my forever crush. This for the rest of my life. Julianne Moore can do no wrong. Even today, go look up a picture of Julianne Moore in 2026. Is that a gilf? Does she have grandchildren? I don't know. We're getting off track. Point is, the second Nightmare movie is a great example of a fantastic horror movie that has queer themes. You can watch Rocky Horror Picture Show and say the same thing. Again, you could go back to a bunch of fucking movies from back then. I can't name them all. Those are just the two major ones that stick out in my head. And as you move forward into now, we've gotten to the point and things have gotten so accepted and acceptable, I should say. Even though, again, don't take that the wrong way. I'm just, if you view it from a worldview, that now we have a movie like Leviticus coming out? It's come out? I'm not sure. Where a gay couple is the leads of the movie, and we're going to get all this craziness, and again, it looks like possession and stuff like that. So I'm excited for the future of horror, especially in the queer community, and I think that's probably a good place to leave it. I have no idea how long this video has been. If you felt like I babbled too much, too bad. Welcome to JT Channel. I babble on this bitch. But thank you everybody so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and leave comments. This is the last thing I'm doing for Pride Month. I did the MAW stuff, and we did a fun episode of if you watched Retro Wrestling Rewind, thank you. That was a nightmare to get through. But in 3 weeks, we'll be jumping back on here. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I did say I'd let you guys know if I did. I'm going to stand off for a second for the third episode because I want to make sure, I want to get some stuff together and start making a calendar. Next week is MAW Great American Bash. Tune in for that. We got a couple number one contenders matches and a steel cage main event. No, I did not steal that from WWE. I said it first. But until next time, this is JT Channel. I am JT, and I will see you in the next one. Happy Pride Month, and go enjoy some horror.